Okay, Serious and Silliness Outcasts has a really special interview tonight. We have B. B is an escort. How you doing, B?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So, how long have you been an escort?
Well, I've done this kind of work for 6 years, and then full on escorting just the last two.
So, what do you mean by this kind of work?
Just sex work.
I see. Okay. So, tell me about your childhood. What was your childhood like?
Um, I would say it's pretty what you would consider normal. We had, there's five of us, so kind of a bigger family, and very well, very religious. Not so much maybe at first growing up, but then after my oldest brother went on a Mormon mission, it seems that my parents kind of got more into being involved. So then it was about early teens when we were expected to be all together more into it um, because they were.
And did you comply or did you rebel?
I mean, I complied. I did always listen to. I was a good kid. I did always try to do my best when I was younger to, listen to my parents. I respected my parents. I I guess resisted a little because, before it was like if I didn't feel good on Sundays, we didn't have to go to church, and then all of a sudden it was doesn't matter, what the excuses we go, and so it was very frustrating. Like, wait, why now? Just because just because he went on this mission doesn't mean that we have to all suffer, I
Mhm.
guess. So,
When did you start moving away from religion and getting into more of sex work?
that would be after my divorce 11 years ago. Um,
Mhm.
I was not treated very well when I got divorced, and especially as a woman, I was definitely treated a lot more unfair, I think, than he was.
So you were still going through the religion and the religious practices while you were married.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So then, after you were divorced, is when you decided to just go your own way.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a few things that happened, a few different things that I tried to, a few different issues that I tried to kind of work out with the Mormon Church, and just the way that it was handled was um, very unfair as far as I felt as far as the gender part of it went, because that's what it felt like it was about, not us as people, but more a gender thing. And I didn't appreciate being treated. Um, yeah, not having who I am taken into account, and just having it be about, yeah, man or woman thing.
I see. Okay. What made you decide to start sex working after you got divorced? What was the push to go into that industry?
So I actually was in a relationship, and I had no idea really. I mean, you hear about, prostitution and things like that, but I had no idea that it really about the life, or that it existed the way it does. Um, the Yeah, well, I guess all of the above. I mean, I guess I always felt like it didn't exist as much here as it felt like it was more like a other country kind of thing, or I don't know what I thought, but I was dating this guy, and then I ended up, you know, looking at his phone as women do, and saw that he had uh, texted a girl that I saw he asked for her picture or something. I don't know. had to do with a massage. And I asked him, I said, like, who is this? And he said, oh, I just I got a massage from her. I go, well, why were you asking for a picture? And he said, I just wanted to see what she looked like. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, you want to see what she looks like? She just gives you a massage. And I go, well, why is she asking for a donation? And he goes, well, that's just sometimes what they ask. And I'm like, okay. So I asked a friend who worked at a salon or a spa if sometimes they ask for it as a donation instead of payment. And she's like, no. And so as I kind of asked her more questions, it turns out she was a body rub girl, which is basically, a not legal topless massage with a happy ending. And um, yeah, that was the first time I kind of heard about or was exposed to it being done so close to home, or being such a normal thing that men do. And so yeah, I found out about that, and it kind of, there's a whole story, but it kind of got to the point where he, I guess, talked me into trying it just to see if I liked doing it. And yeah, so I did try it, and the yeah, I actually really enjoyed it, and the money was great. And so I started with body rubs for the first 3 or 4 years.
Explain the first customer. What was that like?
Oh Lord. Um, well, as I remember it, he seems to have a different memory of this, but I don't remember him really explaining to me that the expectation was um, like a happy ending. Um, I just thought it was a topless massage, and so it was this little short, kind of chubby guy, and he came down, and I, ended up in just panties and my shirt off, and I gave him a rub for the hour, and then near the end, like I was like finished, and he kind of asked me like, well, would you mind like, touching this? And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, well, do you care if I finish myself right here with you here? And I was like, okay. I thought it was strange. And so that happened. And I remember I went upstairs, and he's like, well, yeah, that's the expectation. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you didn't tell me I was going to be, jerking guys off every time. So I think I was a little taken back by um, not feeling like I knew that that was going to take place. And so it felt a little, obviously uncomfortable at the end there, but I did actually really, I enjoyed giving him a massage, even though it's not that he was gross, but it wasn't like it was somebody I was super attracted to and was excited to give a body to body massage. Um, but I enjoyed, I guess, doing the massage in general.
What was the enjoyment from?
I've always liked, I guess, making other people happy, or doing what feels like a service for other people that makes them feel good. And so massaging a friend or like someone I'm dating has always kind of been something I've enjoyed doing. And so yeah, I guess that's what it was. I enjoyed doing it, and knowing I was getting money for it, and I didn't have to go to a bunch of school to do that. So it was fun knowing that I was making money doing something that I was really enjoying doing, because I'd never had that before.
How long before you actually got comfortable with the massages and the happy endings?
Ooh. Um, Before it felt like it was like I guess smooth transition from a massage to the happy ending without feeling awkward at all was probably just a few weeks into it. I mean, I'm pretty good with situations and people, and I can usually always make something feel comfortable, um, or maybe I just tell myself that I'm comfortable, and so it makes everyone else comfortable, and so I just talk to myself into feeling comfortable no matter what. And I didn't even, I stopped noticing if it was awkward or not, or comfortable or not, and I was, yeah. And I think it just slowly went into just feeling like a normal job.
What was the money like for the body rubs and the happy endings?
Um, at the time, I believe we started off at um, a half an hour. A half an hour I did for 60 or 65, and then an hour I did for 80, which, was 6 years ago. And now, I don't know what other girls are doing, but now I do a half an hour for 140 and an hour for 200. So it's gotten a lot more than it used to be, but I was doing like, 5 to 7 appointments a day. So I was bringing in a lot of money. I could do whatever I wanted, basically.
And the happy endings were included in that, or that was extra?
No, they were included. I mean, there was always, um, tipping if I wouldn't ask for it, and I never pushed for it, but it was always nice when you get a tip. And a lot of the times they would, because, a lot of the girls kind of they'll give a surprise. You'll they'll get there, and then they give the girls the money, and then the girls say, well, it's this much more for this, and that, that's just for my time. And I know a lot of escorts do that too. So I did what is referred to as a flat rate, which means that you're going to get uh, what pretty much is the basic of, body rub, or full service, I guess, is the term for escorting. And you get what everyone would assume you get for that, and there's nothing extra um, that you're going to ask for. That's hard to explain. So, it's not like so I say flat rate, they know they're not going to come get a massage, and then I'm going to say, wait, if you want the end, another $100, I guess, if that
I
makes
see.
sense.
I see. Okay. So it's understood that the flat rate includes the rub down and the happy ending.
Yes.
Okay. And you were with your boyfriend throughout this?
Yes, I was. He was actually doing making all the appointments. He was doing all the texting and scheduling.
So essentially, it was like your manager.
Or yes, he doesn't like the word, but pimp, I guess.
Okay. All right. And would he make money from this as well, or all went to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, we didn't like keep track of it. It was just that money covered both of our bills, and that was basically our income together. He didn't do anything else, so whatever money I brought in was what we lived on.
So he didn't have a job besides booking your appointments.
No, no, no. He had a business before we started seeing each other. It was a landscape business,
Mm.
um, and that had kind of been destroyed by his ex-wife and their divorce. And so he did those jobs here and there, but I pretty much just enough to, I guess, survive from month to month. And so it's not like he had anything coming in. So he just didn't do any landscape jobs. He just stopped doing anything except scheduling appointments.
Okay. And then how did you graduate from body rubs to actually escorting?
So I had a friend that actually moved in with me, and she's an escort. Um, I had just met her. I found out she was living in a hotel, and I was like, oh my God, like she's addictive. She's so sweet. And I was just like, don't live in a hotel. Like, I have an extra room, move in with me, And so I kind of learned more and more about kind of what it is and what it was like for her to do it. And um, the idea of it, I think throughout that year of her living with me, became easier and easier to not feel like it was such a dirty thing to be doing. And so by the time I did, I felt like I was in a really good headspace, but I did not do it until after my ex-boyfriend and I broke up. And I was like, well, I love sex. I have a probably a dangerous addiction to it. And, I was just like, I'm probably going to just take random guys home from the bar anyways and have sex. So I might as well, make some money off of it. So I just was like, I'll have more fun and just
Okay.
do that.
And what were the rates, or what are the rates?
um, like in instead of the body rubs, like what I was doing when I started escorting.
Yes.
So she she always did just like no matter how long, $300. You know, and they'd be like, what about a quick visit, which is just in and out, or half an hour. And she's like, like, when she say, fuck's the fuck, like $300. Um, I know a lot of girls have the half an hour and the hour rate. And I did the same thing as her at first. And now, now well, I quickly went into, if you want just a half an hour, it's 200, an hour, it's 300. Just because usually, a half an hour is less than 15-20 minutes, and an hour is less than like 40 or 45 minutes. And so it just wasn't a lot of time, um if they said half an hour or less. So I just felt okay not taking as much, because I can, I was like, I can fit more appointments in, so I actually don't mind if they choose less amount of time. So I was okay going less than just 300. But I know a lot of girls just stick with one rate and don't go time time slots at all.
And you continue to do the body rubs as well as the escorting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't advertise for that. But if I get asked for it, then I will, I'll say, yes, I do this, and this is the rate for that. Or I have, I do have some clients I've seen for all 6 years. And I don't have one that I've only ever done body rubs for. They've all kind of, graduated into wanting to do more. But I do still, for a lot of them, do the body rubs, even if it's just to begin the appointment with, because I'm pretty good at it.
Okay. All right. How do these people, how do new clients or customers get in touch with you?
So at first it was a site called Backpage. Um, and uh, that was huge. That was huge. We would get, my friend and I have talked about this. We would get probably, 50 to 100 different guys texting every day. And it was easy to have our pick of uh, whoever we wanted to see, or um, the times, or the amount that we wanted someone to pay. It was very easy at that time. Now it's a little bit harder, because that page got shut down, and then nobody knew where to post an ad. Or I think actually learned the other day, a lot of men think that the escorting kind of went away when Backpage left. Her and I were talking to actually like a Lyft driver that we had. Um, and so now there's a lot of different sites. Her and I have really only posted on a couple of them. Um, but there is one that has been around since Backpage, but it was a review site. It was called Erotic Monkey. And when that got shut down, I think that page realized that they could actually make money off of their site now. So now it is a review site still, but men have to pay to see uh, the reviews, and get the contact info from the girls, so that Erotic Monkey can make money off of these men. But um, yeah, and there's like a rating. There's like 1 to 5 bananas. And so to see their rating, you also have to pay for it. So I've had a lot of guys ask, um, I guess maybe about my rating or my reviews, because they'll get my info and they're like, but I can't see your reviews. And so sometimes I'll send like a screenshot of a review, or what I'm rated at, and just send it to them.
Hmm.
Just because I know a lot of guys don't want to pay for that. So
Okay.
yeah, so a lot that brings in quite a bit of traffic as well, because that's a nice one for guys to go and see that you are real, or that you are safe to see or not to see. Because I have over 50 reviews, so that's what I say. I'll go there. I wouldn't have that many reviews if I wasn't real.
Okay. How many guys would you say that you see daily or weekly?
Now,
Hmm.
uh, daily, I usually try never to do more than two appointments, at the most a day. Um, since now that I'm escorting, like I said, back in the day for body rubs, I would do anywhere from, you know, one to seven or eight a day. It's hard to turn down any appointments because it's just like it's such easy money, and it's like if you have something else going on. I remember he used to make the joke like if we wanted to go play golf, but then we got hit up, he's like, "Wow, this would be like $100 golf game, or it would cost us," and just because we would be losing out on that money to go play golf, and so now it's probably, and my schedule goes off of my daughter's work schedule because obviously I don't want to do it when she's here. And so if I have a good amount of time that day, and I get hit up enough, I will do more than two. But usually I try to only do two, and it's about 4 or 5 days a week that I'll work. So maybe um 4 to 10 a week. I'll see.
Do you have a particular meeting place?
Just my place. Just I so it's called either in call or out call. So in call is the girls that see someone at their house, or some girls I guess get a hotel room, and the guys come to you. Or out call is you go to them, and I prefer in my own place because it feels, to me it feels more safe because it's on my ground, it's on my turf. If something happens, I kick you out. And going to someone's house, you don't know what situation you're walking into, you don't know the house or the area, you don't know, if someone's there or hiding. Or so I like doing it in my home.
Have you had any close calls
With
with clients with anything that became dangerous?
um I don't know that it was a close call. I did get caught once at the first four body rubs. Got a little bit of just a slap on the wrist for it. Um,
What do you
but
mean? What do you mean got caught with the authorities,
uh,
police?
yes, yes, they had sent, or they claimed to have sent an undercover in, um, and then when this person showed up, I went to let them in, and he flashed his badge and said, "Can we come in and talk?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he said before that he had sent an undercover in, but the police report was like the things he was saying, they just weren't really the things that I would do. Like he said that I had opened the door in a bra and panties, which I never did. I always had a dress type lingerie and a robe on. And there was just a few things that I was like, did he really show up? Or, was this a lot of just guessing so that they could um, get me in trouble? But it was actually my boyfriend at the time's ex-wife that had gotten me caught because, which I know that she had done it previously, and so she knew from it because of a couple things happened. She knew that I was doing it, and because the police had said, that we've gotten some complaints from the neighbors, and I had said a few things that I'm like, complaints from the neighbors, like you wouldn't have been able to find my ad and know that it was me and set up an appointment and been able to connect the ad with me and where I live. Like nobody in my neighborhood knew. Maybe they knew I did it, but nobody knew like the number that I used to work. Nobody knew what my ad was. I never used my faces in my ads, and so yeah. So I know that they were kind of lying about that. So I know that it was her
Mhm. So
that
so
that did.
so nothing actually dangerous. No man came and was overly aggressive, or
Well, so
somebody had to ask to leave.
I've had a few that have been a little more aggressive than others. For the most part, I don't know if it's because of the amount that I ask for. I typically, I think, have very respectful clients. I keep my prices a little higher so that I have a certain type of clientele, a little more classy, mostly businessmen that, are doing this like on a break from work or, at a time, obviously they're hiding it from their wives. Um, and so I haven't really had um, anybody that had shown up and I was immediately nervous about. I did have one, I think that is the only one that I recalled feeling a little trauma from. Um, and it was, I had, so sometimes when I verify and find out if someone's safe to see, I will use a reference, which means they'll give me the name of another provider that they have seen. And I text that provider, ask, have you seen this person? Here's the name or here's the number, and are they safe to see? And so we will, you know, uh, kind of check that for each other because we want each other to, I guess, stay safe in what we're doing. And so I had, he'd give me a reference, and actually, it was weird from the start. It was I looked it up, made sure it was an actual escort, and it was I guess, a tranny, a transgender escort in Vegas. And so I thought that was a little odd from the start. And but it was also, I never took appointments at night, especially not alone. This was after I had broken up with my ex and I was doing full-on escorting. But it was about 4 in the morning, and I had been doing mushrooms with my gay friend and his boyfriend. And I thought, I'll make a little money. So it was about 4 in the morning, and I ended up having him come over, and he was a guy from the Middle East. My old place was, 2 floors downstairs. The bedroom had like French doors, and so you can go out the back of the house. So I don't know if somebody had come in and um, said how easy it would be to do this, but I think they must have known. Anyways, I don't know. So my place was a townhome at the end of a condo complex. And so if you were going by my house, you were there for a reason. It wasn't a drive-by house. Um, and so anybody back there wandering around, or especially at 4 in the morning, it was very strange. Um, so I went down with him, and I never wanted any client to know that anybody else was at the house. So if anybody was ever at my house, I always told them just be quiet, so that my clients don't get uncomfortable. So at first, uh, he didn't know that anyone was there. And then all of a sudden, I walked him down about 10 minutes into it. I just heard my friend go, "Hey." And I was like, sorry, hang on. And I went upstairs, and he goes, "I don't know what's going on, but there were these 2 people wandering around the house, and they were out I think on the deck smoking." And he's like, "I just told them if they weren't going to leave, I was going to break their arms." And he's like, and so they left. And I was like, "What? This is like, that's weird." I said, "Okay, I'm going to go back downstairs." And this guy, he didn't even really he took his clothes off, laid on my table because I was going to do a body rub, but he didn't even really want me to massage him. He brought over a bottle of wine and just kept me talking. And so we were talking a lot, and didn't do anything. And then all of a sudden, I usually kept it to the hour or under. I didn't like to chat a lot. I didn't like to go over the time. And so that's what my friend was used to. And so it was about the hour into it. And he just was like, "Okay, that's enough. Like you need to be done." And I don't know if he just, because the situation was uncomfortable to him, or if he just, figured it needed to be done or something was wrong down there. And so I was like, "Okay, like you gotta go." And then it was really hard to get him out of my house, like to get him to leave. It was strange. And so finally we got him out the front door, and he'd come back and said he had left his phone. And I was like, "No, I would know if you left your phone. I didn't see it. Like, you need to leave." I mean, a couple of other things happened, but eventually we were like, "You just need to leave. You got to go." He couldn't find his car, and the whole thing was weird. We finally walked him around to try to find his car, and there was another entrance to the condo complex that I think the neighborhood didn't want open, because we had apartments in there as well that were government assisted housing, and they didn't want the traffic in and out. Um, and um, and that fence actually had a little hole in it that people could squeeze through. And so that's where we walked him to, and his van was on the other side. And I was like, I guess that's yours. Like time to go. And he kind of stepped towards me, and my my cute little gay friend who's teeny, but he's pretty aggressive, kind of jumped in front of me and was like, back off, like don't touch her. And so I always felt safe when he was there. But so he made him leave. And when we walked back, I said, oh my God, that was really weird. It was really weird. I said, I think maybe they were there um, I don't know, take me or kidnap me into, um, yeah, what was it called? Into
like sex trafficking.
trafficking. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I didn't know for a while that it was so huge here, that it still happened so often. And so when I really thought about it, I was like, I think I definitely think that's what it was. I think maybe because it was early in the morning, they thought it would be a good time, or maybe that's the time they do it. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it definitely didn't dawn on me until after that that's probably what was happening, just because of the events that happened leading up to everything was just so weird, about the whole situation. So I guess that is the only time I've ever felt truly unsafe with what I was doing.
Okay. Previously, you mentioned doing mushrooms.
Yes.
How much drugs and alcohol have been part of your life?
Um, I guess it depends on the time period of my life. So I wouldn't say consistently a lot, but like before I got married, I did a lot of experimenting. I have bipolar, and so a part of that is, I guess kind of split decisions, stupid, spur of the moment decisions that make you feel good at the time. So I do a lot of those, a lot of, I don't care what happens because I'm doing this. This will feel good right now. And so during that time, I had been really depressed, because of a controlling abusive relationship in high school. So that's what I was doing. I was just, self-medicating. And then there was a couple moments within my marriage when I kind of, we used to say go crazy, but I didn't really go crazy. I just kind of, I hit low, a depression, that I just kind of went and did whatever I wanted to feel better. The same thing that I did before my marriage, just self-medicate. And so those were times that I went really crazy with drugs and alcohol. But during my marriage, when I was, doing the religion thing, it was non-existent. So yes, during those times, which was right before my marriage, about a year, and then a couple times during my marriage, maybe 3 to 6 months, and then since then, the last 10 or 11 years, I have done, um, not heavy drug and alcohol use, but probably a consistent, amount of experimenting, and nothing addictive, but use on the regularly, just ones that I think are enjoyable, that aren't too damaging. Yeah, so I don't think it's been a lifestyle or an escorting thing. It's just been a, um, people who's in my life, and that kind of
What
decision type thing.
what normally is your drug of choice?
What is?
What normally is your drug of choice?
Uh, uh, Finally, I do have a good answer for that. Recently, in the last few years, acid is my drug of choice.
Really?
Yes, I do feel like I call it my reset. Um, I know that they use psychedelics for, to help mental illness, or that's what they were, meant for. And it feels like, sometimes mushrooms will get me a little too in my head. And you can be really hard on yourself. But acid is like, a lot of the stuff is like seeing things for the first time. Everything is so pretty, you really can't focus and get super depressed because everything just feels so great. Um, and I always feel really good the next day. I don't feel drained. Everything's like beautiful. Life, I guess, almost makes sense again. And I like psychedelics because you can't get addicted to them. Like you literally can't, your brain cannot continue to take it over and over and have it be the same kind of effect. You can't chase a high like you can with, heroin or meth. There's just, you have to take time to reset your brain when it comes to, mushrooms or acid. So I do like it because it does feel, I guess, more like a safe drug, but you still get to escape reality for a little bit. And that's why I do like drugs in general.
Okay. All right. How has your profession affected your family, parents, children, relationships?
Um, I don't think it's really so. The only reason that my family knows that I mean, they do know I was doing the body rubs. I don't know that they know or have found out or assume if whether or not I'm doing full on escorting, but they do know that I did the body rubs because my ex, who was quite abusive, would threaten to tell them if if I didn't do certain things and so I finally just was like, I was tired of him having things to hold over me. So I told them because I wanted them to hear it from me too and not him. So I just got out of the way and told them. So I don't really know that it's affected my family in any way. My kids, I don't regret it at all. I love that I actually made the decision to do this because, you only get your kids half the time or less when you're divorced. And because I did this, I wasn't working, as 40 to 60 hours a week as a server um, to make ends meet. Like, I didn't get a career or anything. I raised my kids. And when I got divorced, my ex-husband wouldn't give me a divorce without agreeing to no child support. So I was doing it by myself, raising three kids half the time by myself without help. And I would need to work 40 to 60 hours a week just to pay my bills and keep a nice roof over my kid's head. And so doing body rubs or escorting, I got to spend all the time I had with my kids, 100% of it. And not only that, I got to get them not only what they needed, but what they wanted. Finally got to take a vacation with them for the first time in 5 years. And yeah, and I loved it. So I don't know if they know now or if they did know or if they know about it. But I mean, if they did, I definitely would hope that they would understand that is what made it so I could spend a good amount if any time with them when I had them. It doesn't even feel like a sacrifice. I enjoy the work. I enjoy the amount of money it brings in, and I enjoy the fact that I did get all the time that I wanted with my kids. And so whether or not it affects them now or later on, I still have no regrets for doing it or choosing to do it. Yeah, I don't know if it's affected them or not because I don't know if they know, but I guess that relationship, the guy that got me into doing it, we didn't talk for 4 years, and then last year we got in touch again. And he kind of is the one that talked me into doing it again because I had quit doing it, was bartending again, and I was working so much that he was like, if you did just a couple of appointments a week, you could make as much as you do, working at the bar for 40 or 50 hours. And so I started doing it again. And then when him and I decided to start dating again, yeah, he knew I was doing it again. And then it was a constant, throwing it in my face. And so I think because of that, our relationship didn't get a good go at it this time because it was just it really was. You can't have a normal functioning relationship workout. I think if you're doing this work, it's a head game for everyone. I don't think it would ever work. So yeah, I did ruin that relationship for a second time for sure.
It sounds like it was very manipulative.
Oh, he was awful. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm just gonna change courses and end off on a lighter question. Well, it might just be a little bit more fun. What were some of the strange requests you got as an escort?
Huh. Huh. Um, uh, Stranger Plus. There was definitely the feet guys. I don't know if you know about this or if anybody listening or if it's a normal thing that people know about. There are men that are obsessed with feet, and they are always a strange, different kind of person, and they will pay a lot for even just pictures of feet. And so I would get every once in a while, I would get somebody who just wanted me to, get them off or rub their dick with my feet, or they wanted to look at my feet while they did that to themselves, or there was one guy who wanted to smell my shoe while he got. I don't know. It just the feet guys are definitely the most strange that I've ever met. That was probably the weirdest one is smelling my shoe. That was weird.
What's the line for you? What is the absolutely? I don't cross that line. I'm not doing this. Forget it.
I do everything covered. I do not even do. I rarely do a blowjob. I just don't like it. I feel like that feels more intimate than full on sex. But when I do, I will. I require it to be covered, and that's become more relaxed than it used to. I used to say, absolutely not at all, and now it's. I've gotten offered a lot of money to do it. I've never said yes and kind of given up what I did or didn't want to do for an amount of money. But so yeah, so definitely a blowjob without condoms, one of them, and I don't do like anything anal at all. I have been offered a lot of money for that too, and I just absolutely won't. Um, Not something I enjoy. I'm not built for it, and yeah. So I guess that's if that answers the question. It's hard to draw any kind of definite line, but I pretty much stick to basic sex, I guess.
B, I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your experience. It is definitely a very moving and dramatic topic that people are definitely going to be interested in. So I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing your life with me and the rest of the audience.
Absolutely.
So have a good night, B. I truly appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.